Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great Tuesday. Thanks for joining me for my Try It Out Tuesday series. Today I'm going to try out the stamp set. I've been wanting it for a long time, and it's an older stamp set from Paper Smooches. It's called Birthday Bash, but I've been wanting it for a long time, so I finally got it. But what made me fall in love with the stamp set was the cute little cake. I love the little cupcake and the little cake on top with the little flower on it. So we're going to make a card using that little cake up there. We're just going to open this up and jump right in and get started. Now, I'm going to stamp my little cake image here on a piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to stamp it actually 3 times using some VersaFine ink. I'm using VersaFine ink because we're going to be adding some clear embossing powder to this later on. But I'm just going to ink it up, stamp it, and do that 3 times. I think this cake was just the cutest. Any kind of sweet stamps I love. I'm going to go over it with my Nuvo Crystal Clear embossing powder, and I'm just going to go ahead and melt that. I wanted to color in these little cakes with my Distress Oxide inks. I love using my Oxide inks to color it in because the color that it gives is like a chalky finish, so I thought this would be perfect. I'm grabbing some worn lipstick, some seedless preserves, and then I'm going to go in with some vintage photo. And using my water brush, we're just going to color in my little cakes. Very easy to color in. With the Oxide inks, once they dry really matte, and I really like that effect, so I thought that'd be fun. And then I really like the colors too. The frosting on these cakes are going to be the worn lipstick. And then we're going to make the cake part chocolate brown using the vintage photo. And that's my buddy. He's helping me out here. I'm basically just letting the water brush do all the work. Just spreading out that color. I'm concentrating it in one area and then just spreading it out. Very easy. But I always like the vintage photo and the worn lipstick together. I think they make a really fun cake. I'm going to color in the little rose on top with the seedless preserves. Cute. Once we have all of our little images colored in, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut those out. Now, when I fussy cut them out, I am going to cut out the stands along with them. I'm going to clean up this mess. I'm going to add a little bit of twisted citron to color in those leaves on the little roses. Lovely. I just love that color combination. Cute. Okay, I'm just going to take my scissors and cut those out. Now again, I'm not going to leave the stand. I'm just cutting out the cake part. Once we have that done, I'm just going to show you what they look like. I'll put them on a piece of white cardstock for you. There we go, though. Okay, now I cut out a panel. This panel is 4 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches. And that was with white cardstock. And then this is a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. We're going to do a little blending with some twisted citron. I want to go over just the top portion of this panel with the green. And then I'm going to go right below it using some squeezed lemonade. Just kind of blending as I go. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the twisted citron to the very bottom. I'm eventually going to cut this panel down, so I kind of debated whether I should add that green to the bottom right now or after I cut it down, but I just added it now. Okay, so that's our little panel. I'm just going to take my paper trimmer and trim, or actually before we do that, I am taking my anti-static powder tool. We're going to do some embossing. I want the cake stands back, so I'm just kind of arranging my little cakes here on the very top. And then I'm going to take my ruler. I decided I needed a straight line. I didn't trust myself with the cake stand. I thought I'd get them a little bit crooked. So I'll just draw a line with my pencil. And then I'm going to remove this first one and then stamp the entire image again. And then I'm going to remove this one and I'll stamp that. That's just for my placement. That way I can get them evenly spaced. And I'm going to do that one more time. Now I'm going to take some clear embossing powder and go over all of my images. That way my little stand is just as shiny as my cake is. And I went ahead and melted that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my paper trimmer and trim that down. I trimmed it down right on the pencil line. And so I'm just going to erase my pencil mark. Okay. I think that looks very bright and fun. Now, I did decide to go back in with a little bit more of the Twisted Citron on the very bottom. Okay. Now, in my stash, I have a scalloped border die. This actually came from a blueprint sketch from an MFT. But I cut out a black and white polka dotted scallop edge here. That's going to go as a landing, basically, for my little cake plates there. I'm adding a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to add my polka dotted scallop edge there. I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I think that looks really fun. Now I'm going to add my little cakes back in their home, but I wanted to add a little bit of dimension, so what I'm going to do is flip these over and add some foam tape behind there. Some foam squares. I had to break out a new pack here. I'm going to add 2 of them behind each of my little cakes and then place them right on top of the little cake pedestal. And I think that just looks so cute. The camera's really not picking up my green, but it's really bright. Almost neon. It's pretty neat. Okay, now to bring in more of that green, I'm going to take some green and white baker's twine. I'm going to wrap it around my scalloped edge twice, and then I'll tie a bow to the left. I'm going to trim off the tails there. Okay, now here's where that other panel will come in. This is just white cardstock that's the same size. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, but the sentiment was actually too wide for the space I had left open. So I just decided to mask off the bottom portion of the sentiment. So it just is going to say celebrate today. I'm going to stamp that in the bottom right corner. And I'm using my VersaFine ink. I am going to go in with some clear embossing powder, and I'll melt that as well. So I guess all the outline images are nice and shiny. Okay, now I think that looks great. We're going to flip over our panel, add some foam tape behind here. I'm going to straighten up my baker's twine there. And then I'm just going to add that to my panel. Okay, I'm going to flip this over, and then we're going to add some foam tape behind here. This foam tape is pretty thin stuff. This is the foam tape my husband got me from his tool store. So it's pretty thin stuff, but it works great. Okay, now I am going to add a little bit of dimension in the background of my cake. So I decided to go in with some Nouveau glitter drops. These are White Blizzard. And I'm just adding polka dots all behind it. And then I'm actually adding a little bit of glitter to the center of my flowers. And that's it. That's my card for today. I hope this gives you an idea on how to create with your little cupcake stamps or your cake pedestal stamps. I wish you a fantastic day, guys. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.